Hi guys, so first of all, 2024 was a fantastic year for this channel. I want to personally thank all of you, anybody who's commented on my videos, liked my videos, subbed to the channel, all that good stuff. Thank you so much. You guys are absolutely amazing and you're all legends. 2025 is going to be no different. In fact, I know it's going to be the best year yet for this channel, and I have high hopes for the future of this channel. So to kick things off, I decided I'd do a video of 3 card forces that are actually really good. The title says intermediate, and all that means is that if you have some knowledge and some skills in sleight of hand, then these will come natural for you. But if you're a complete beginner, these might be a little bit difficult for you. But if you are a beginner, these will be some knuckle busting things to practice and help you along in your journey to become a sleight of hand master with the pasteboards. Let's get into it. Alright, so for all of these forces, the force card is always going to be the ace of spades, just to keep things consistent, okay? So this first one looks like this, so as I drop cards like this, somebody can just say stop anytime as I do, alright? So maybe they say stop right here is fine, but that really could have been anywhere in the entire deck. But despite the freedom of their choosing where to say stop, they actually chose the ace of spades. Alright, so this one is called the Lazy Seconds Force by Aussie Wind out of his book Repertoire. Alright, so I like to have the Force card third from top, and you'll know why I like to have it there in a minute. But you can obviously have it on top to begin with, but you can just have it there already, or put it there with an overhand shuffle like this. Just go 1, 2, 3, in jog, shuffle off, break at the in jog, shuffle off to the break, and now it's at position 3, and you're ready to go. So what I do here is this: I cleanly push over those top 3 at first, and then we go into the lazy seconds procedure, which looks like this. If you know my slip and slide control, it's just that. In fact, slip and slide was based and inspired by this force, so it's essentially a second deal. But it's a lazy second deal, hence the name Lazy Seconds. Alright, so what's happening here is this. You want to position your thumb about the corner of the deck here, and you want to push over a good group of cards. I say 6 to 7, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 cards. Just a little group, okay, like a block pushover. Now, what's going to happen is you want to tilt your hand down like this. I'll turn this way so you can see what's happening here. You want to tilt your hand down like this and push over that group, and slide back that top card and let these cards, by gravity, just fall out, right? That group you pushed over, and keep doing that, taking these cards like this, keeping that card still via the second deal mechanics, but it's lazy because you don't have to take one card. You're just taking that group, which looks messy and random, right? So you're just doing that the whole time, pushing those groups and pushing that top card back the whole time. So the reason why I like it to third from top to begin with is so I can push over the first group cleanly. That way there's really nothing to see or suspect, right? And then I go into the lazy seconds procedure like this. So face down again at full speed. Looks very good, obviously. So the force card in this case will be, I guess I'll do it on top so you can see. So as I do this, just say stop anytime. Notice when I do this also that each time I push cards out, I'm letting gravity do pretty much all the work. Because if you just did this, it gets kind of tough to do, and you're just like trying to grab cards like this, right? So let gravity do all the work for you. And also the tilting down like this also shades the move, so it's a 2-in-1 for you, okay? So it shades the move and it makes the move a lot easier. All right, so once again, you're like boom, letting this card simply fall out as you do this procedure, and boom, they say stop, put the card there, and I like to keep going as if I'm still doing that move the same way, right? That way it all looks copacetic and good, and that they have their force card. Alright, so this next one looks like this. So you can start thumbing cards over like this, and somebody can just say stop or simply just point to a card. Doesn't make a difference, but once they do, that card is taken out, and we don't want to see it quite yet, so maybe we just put it right here under the card box for safekeeping. We'll get back to that here in a moment, alright? So blah, 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 blah. And of course, the force card is under the box, the ace of spades. Alright, so this is not traditionally a card force per se, it's actually a card switch, but obviously you can use any card switch as a card force, which is always a good thing to keep in mind, right? But this move is called the Visual Retention Change by Ed Marlowe, and it comes out of the Hierophant, okay? So the switch looks like this, so oftentimes, one thing I hate about this move is that people get into it all weird, and they just put the card right here for no apparent reason, and then that happens and the card is switched. But I've always thought that it just it's an unnatural sort of thing to do, to put that card right there for no reason and then to put it down. I mean, why would you do that? Why not just put it down in the first place? You don't need to put it on top of the deck just to take it off again, right? So what I figured would be a good thing to do and a natural thing to do is use something like a card box to grab. That way you have an excuse to put it on there for a moment and then to take it off again, right? So I think the card box and using this as a force is a good way to use this move. So the move itself, this is what's happening. So the force card is on top of the deck, right? And any random card is taken out and chosen. And you want to get a pinky break under the top card. And the break that I like to use is called the back breaker move by Di Vernon. And oftentimes you'll see people getting breaks like this, which is fine. I mean, with misdirection it works, or with like a, natural your hand right here, but Di Vernon had the brilliant idea to actually sort of necktie the deck like this and take your thumb all the way back to this back corner right by your little finger here and just very slightly push that card over like this. That way it's sort of being angled like this just a little bit instead of something like that, right? So you're back here like this, and nothing is to be seen, but I just got my break on the card. Once again, that is called the back breaker move by Di Vernon. So you just necktie the deck, and that's happening as you sort of take the card out and display it and talk for a moment, and you come up and do it, and you've got the break already on the card. So once again, from exposed view, you come back with your thumb, very slightly, just push that card over at the corner, and you've got the break. Just sort of jam your finger into there like this, and it's invisible, right? So anyway, so now you put the card sort of like right here in like a tented position, right? So if you turn down, it sort of looks like an A shape, like an A frame. And I like this better than sometimes you'll see people do extreme like this, and that's just unnecessary. And sometimes doing it this way, the card gets hung up. So I find with this move that it's actually a lot easier to get the card out just to lightly use a light touch and put it like this. It looks natural anyway, right? So what's going to happen for this move is you simply let gravity do all the work. So all you're going to do is let that card drop out like this as you close that card in, right? So it's almost like a second deal in a way, but it's a visual switch, okay? So you're like this, the card is put right here, and then you take the card box and just simply do the move as you put the card on top of it, and it's been switched for the force card. So to put everything together again, you are here, they touch a card, you take it out, and you say, look, we'll get to this card here later. I don't want to see what it is, so we'll just put it under the card box for now. All right, and I've done the move. Or if you don't have the card box handy, you can simply have them put their hand on top of it. Say, you can do something like this. So hold your hand like this and then do the move and have them put their hand on top of it, right? But you need some kind of excuse to put the card on top of the deck in this configuration, right? Just like this, and that's the move. So slow motion for you. You're like this. You just come over, let gravity take that card out and push that card right back on top, and that's the switch, and that's the move. All right, so last but not least, we come to this force here, and I was reluctant to teach this to you because it's sort of my go-to force, and it's one of those things that it's one of the greats, okay? So it's not talked about enough, and it's underutilized, and I think underappreciated. Maybe not, maybe it's just kept secret for a reason. All right, but this is what it looks like. So you can do something like this and have somebody say stop as you put cards on the table. Once they do, you give them that card, and that really could have been any card in the deck, but they stopped on the Ace of Spades. Okay, so this is called the Charlie Miller Table Spread Force, okay? It came out of the MUM periodical, and this is how it looks. So the force card, you want to have a break above it, in the middle of the deck, okay? A pinky break right above that force card in the middle of the deck. And I like to get there for all forces that require a break in the middle, just to do a simple overhand shuffle, okay? So I chop off about half the cards, run one on top of the force card, and shuffle off. That way now I can just sort of talk and relax and blah, blah, blah. That way there's sort of like a delay, right? That way I don't have to immediately get into my break. So I think that's a lot better than simply cutting the deck, say stop, and because I think that telegraphs what you're doing, right? But if you just act natural with it like this, doing that shuffle and just put the deck down like this with a loose sort of handling and just talk for a minute, then there is no suspicion of getting a preparation, right? So anyway, you want to sort of lift up on that in jog. That way you can now get your break right above that card in the middle. All right, so now what's going to happen here, I'll leave it face up, obviously, so you can see what's happening. You want to keep that break, and a cool thing about this force is that your index finger wraps around the front of the cards like this and hides a gap if that's going to be flashed, right? So there is no way a force, or I'm sorry, there's no way a break can be seen in the deck because that index finger is wrapped around the front like this. Also, the fact that you're sort of like necktying your hand, like twisting your wrist inward, also hides any sort of break, okay? So now you're going to simply do this. This is an exposed view for you. So you sort of thumb over cards like this onto the table slowly, right? And ask somebody to say stop as you do this. It's sort of a timing thing, okay? So you just do this. As I do this, just say stop anytime. Now once they do, you want to block push over all the cards above that break and just push that card out. And once you do that, you want to keep doing this. See, that could have been any card, blah, blah, blah. And look how clean that is, guys. It's one of the best forces, in my opinion, that you can do. So once again, you're here, you have that break above. And as I do this, just say stop. And remember, the index finger hides that gap. There's no break to be seen. As I do this, just say stop anytime. Oh, right here, take that card. I won't look. And there it is. That's the Charlie Miller, table spread force. Practice it because it's one of the best ones, and it's always like, it's just a good force. Highly recommend, 10 out of 10. So a cool touch on this force that was devised by a young man named Ryan Plunkett looks like this. So you're going to use a breather crimp, and that way you don't have to hold a break, okay? So a breather crimp is just an upward X shaped bend in the card. So you just bend it upwards, diagonal, and diagonal the other way like this. That way you have sort of an X bend shape in the card like this. Now the force card will be directly under that crimped card, okay? So now you just simply, again, position that this force card in the middle of the deck, holding no breaks this time because that crimped card is right above the force card. Okay, so now what's going to happen, let's too close to the bottom there, sorry. What's going to happen is this. You're going to let gravity do all the work, okay? So what's going to happen is this crimped card is basically going to slide off right above the force card, okay? So the reason why that works is because of this axis, okay? So there's like it's like a top, or like a, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's just going to slide off of the force card, okay? So what's going to happen is this. You start doing this. You can even do it with one hand. It's up to you. Now, once you get close, you simply sort of relax your fingers and let gravity do all the work, and that crimped card just slides off, revealing the force card. So once again, I'll leave it face up so you can see what's happening. So do me a favor, as I do this, just say stop anytime. I'll stop right here. And you just relax your fingers like this and sort of let gravity just simply do this. Like just let loose, make a loose sort of hand here, and just let gravity take that crimped card off for you, and you have your force. And I think that's a great way to do the Charlie Miller force. So thanks to Ryan Plunkett. I know you don't watch my videos, but if you do, you're a visionary, my friend. Alright guys, so as always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch this video. It truly does mean the world to me. And so if you learned something new and if you got value from this video, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and sub to the channel. Until next time, happy practicing. I love you guys.